Hey folks, good afternoon or good morning, depending on what part of the world you are. This is a Roaming Prepper channel, and I'm your host, Pete, and thank you, as always, for coming to say hi to me. Today, there are two topics I want to talk about, and one is overseas, one is a lot closer to home, and I want to talk about the importance of both and how they affect us. Now, I wanted to do this live this evening. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it's I have family things going on. So while I had a break between meetings, I wanted to create this video and let everyone kind of judge for themselves. Do your own homework, as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you feel like sharing, that is greatly appreciated as well. So what are the two things? So first of all, Pakistan has attacked a contested area, not against India, because if you remember, you have on the map, you have India, Pakistan, and then Iran. Not against India, which is usually who they butt heads with, but against Iran, because they claim there are terrorist groups in this border region, if you will, that have been doing things against Pakistan, and the Pakistanis took a hit at the Iranians. Now, I find that interesting. One, they don't like each other, like that's an ongoing thing. But Pakistan has been this very weird, troublesome ally to the US forever. So let's think about the chain of events here, right? Russia invades Ukraine because NATO gets too close. Russia claims one thing, NATO claims the other. Now they're fighting in Ukraine. And that's kind of drawn to a standstill. Iran is a friend of Russia. So what does Iran do? They encourage Hamas and Hezbollah to attack Israel. Hamas's attack, although tactically very well done, I mean, it was an excellent combat attack, was actually very bloody and vicious against civilians. It wasn't so much a strategic attack. It was just a violent attack, tactically well done. Drew Israel into a fight, which of course draws resources from Ukraine to Israel, kind of spreading the Americans a little thin, right? And now the Houthis are firing rockets at people, and so the navies and the Brits and the Americans and French are trying to deal with that. The Houthis, the Hezbollah, and the Hamas groups are all affiliated with Iran. Pakistan is kind of an off and on again friend of the USA, and we have these weird agreements with them. So all of a sudden, with Iran's friends causing all this shit to distract from Russia and Ukraine, Pakistan turns around and punches Iran in the back of the head. Now think about that for a second. We are fighting or encouraging multiple proxy wars between Russia, Iran, and Belarus, with using Pakistan and Israel and vice versa. They're using Hamas against Israel, which draws some of our resources. So we told Pakistan to punch Iran. I'm hypothesizing here. I don't know this for sure. Now, how is this relevant? Pakistan has nuclear weapons. So does Iran. So does Israel. Our friends have more nukes than their friends, other than the Russians, who have like a shit ton of atomic weapons. So that's disturbing. And of course, you have North Korea, who's like a demented child, provoking everyone, and China poking at the Philippines. There are a lot of regional conflicts going on, and the battle lines seem to be very well drawn. Now, this is all overseas, right? How do we get involved? Well, if the Suez Canal gets compromised, that's going to affect us at home. Supply chain, undoubtedly. The fight between Hamas and Israel is encouraging a lot of violence. We saw the insurrectionists at the White House trying to jump over the fence. Very few were arrested. They didn't treat them anywhere near as badly as they treated the J6 people. And for the record, J6 people broke the law. I get it. They go to jail. But why does the other side get a pass? That's what pisses me off. It's not like, oh, you went into Congress and tore up the building and you went to jail. All right, fine. That sucks to suck. The other guys were throwing things at cops. If I went and threw shit at the Capitol Police, my Puerto Rican ass would go to jail. Why does one side get a pass and the other one doesn't? That's not bueno. So going back to, I digress, but these conflicts are causing a lot of emotion at home. And here's where it becomes a wild card. It's very hard to predict exactly what will happen between A and B, right? War, Hamas, Israel situation, the Iranian-Pakistan situation, the Ukrainian-Russian situation. We've got all these ethnicities here, right? We're all ethnic if you think about it. Will something happen here? My hypothesis is if one of the big players, i.e. the Russias, the Chinas, Irans, try to make a big move on the geopolitical stage, they're going to hit us at home first. The FBI said it, Homeland said it. I actually believe it because it makes the most sense. If I was a bad guy and I wanted to do something and I was like, well, if I do this, America's going to come and punch me, I would want to send people who were willing to die, like the brothers in the Boston bombing. I would have people like that already in the country and say, you know what? Go disrupt the shit out of America for like a month. They're probably all going to die, right? Because the ATF, the cops, the civilians, we're going to fight back and we're going to kill them. They'll be destroyed or they'll be arrested. But in doing so, we'll get discombobulated for about a month or two. And that's plenty of time for a big player to do something. So that, in my mind, is, other than supply chain, right? The Suez Canal and shipping and whatnot, that is my big concern with how these players are affecting us at home, is that a viable option is, and a Cold War prepper went into it in quite a lot of detail, the 5th generation warfare, doing something here to force us to pull resources and attention away so that they can do something somewhere else. I don't know if I explained that right, but I think you guys are tracking me. So that's one. That's situation one. Now, situation two is much closer to home and is closer to me personally, which is Eagle Pass, Texas. So the Border Patrol was ordered not to do certain things, and so ergo we have this flood of migrants, many military-age men, not all Hispanic. They're not coming from like Mexico or Guatemala. They're coming from, countries that really don't like us, that think it's okay to rape, that think it's okay to commit murder in the name of whatever, into the country, including these other big proxy players, China, Russia, Iran. And they're coming in large quantities. And the Border Patrol can't do what they're supposed to do, or they're being told to do whatever. So the Texas governor and the Texas government deployed the National Guard, told the feds, leave, we're on Texas property, we're going to manage this area. And now the Texas National Guard is basically blocking the area and telling the migrants, go to El Paso and go to the correct place for processing. Because there's a place in El Paso for immigrant processing. Kind of like an Ellis Island concept, right? You go here and you do your paperwork and get your fingerprints, etc. And then you may come in and then we'll deal with you then. Not just float across the fucking border and go everywhere and then cause shit. The president last night, so tonight is the 18th of January in 2024. Last night, the president said Texas National Guard needs to move off that area and let the Border Patrol take the place again, or else. At the same time, they're passing a law stating that the formation of a private militia or group referenced as a militia can now be considered an insurrection or an insurrectionist act. So if you're a group of people who are shooting together, you may be an insurrectionist now. I doubt that law is going to pass Congress. It's probably going to get shot to pieces because not all the Democrats are stupid. The Republicans won't go for it, but neither will most Democrats. It's that little group of assholes that is way off on the left or way off on the right are causing all this shit. But, so now I'm thinking to myself, okay, so any group that is armed and functioning and training together could be considered now a militia. And so what does this result in? So does my clay shooting team, who's formed mostly of veterans, we go out and shoot together a lot. Not just shotguns, rifles, ARs, pistols. We shoot, we train. That's what we do. We're not trying to overthrow anything. We just do it for fun because it's what we've learned. And it's fun, and it's an excuse to talk shit and then go get food and eat and drink beer, right? Are we now, could we be labeled insurrectionists? What about preppers? What if you have a camp? What if you say, Vision did a great camp, My Mother Spark, Jason, Angry Prepper, Hudson Valley. I don't know if New York Prepper goes to Hudson's, I think, in Catskill. There, and that's just a few. I know a lot of you guys do different little camp outs and get-togethers and coffee breaks. I know, like, ex-NYC Prepper went to All-American Prepper so that the two of them could joke, and they were spoofing Canadian Prepper and each other, and they were just having fun and having some beers and barbecue. So wait a minute now. If any group getting together for the purpose of training may be considered insurrectionist or could be considered a militia, well, what if a bunch of preppers get together? What if we're just getting together like, hey, I got new equipment, I want to test it, and we're like, oh, hey, come join us, we're all going to have a camp out and test our gear. And, we're in the woods where there's pigs and coyotes and shit, so we bring firearms, or we now are a militia. Are the feds going to roll up on a camp out of a bunch of dumbass preppers who are just trying to enjoy themselves and go like, oh, you're all the enemies of the state? And then the question is, are all the feds and all the military going to go on board? Right? If they tell the Border Patrol was happy that the Texas National Guard took that area so that they can move those 200 agents to other places. What if the Border Patrol says, you know what? No, fuck you. We agree with Texas. We don't obey. That's an unlawful request. Oh shit. Now what? Do they roll the army into Texas? What's Ohio going to think about that? Ohio's in Florida. Or Oklahoma. Oklahoma didn't have a single blue county the last 3 elections. Do you see where this is going? Now, will the law pass? Probably not. It's going to get shot to pieces because people are not stupid, and it's like, that's ridiculous. Unless you're actually planning to do something terrible. A bunch of dumbasses going out to shoot together and then drinking beer is not an insurrection. But it's setting that groundwork. It's setting the rhetoric. And that's what scares me domestically. Because that's going to start setting the tone for 2024. Now, why did I tie these two very different things together, right? We have the international thing. Pakistan punched Iran and Israel and all these fuckeries over here, excuse my language. And then you have this domestic border issue. Well, remember I said, if you want to hurt us, get these guys out here to sneak in and do something in here, in the U.S. You don't manage the border right, you're setting that up. I'm going to say it out loud. I might get my channel run off. I'll start a new fucking channel. I don't care. What's funny is every Venezuelan and Cuban migrants, who are the ones they keep turning away, the ones that get in are like, no, why are you letting communists here? Why are you letting these Al-Qaedas here? These are bad people. We tried to get away from that. That's why we're here with my wife and children. Or my husband. I don't want them. They're bad. But they turn those migrants away. Instead, we get a bunch of assholes in New York City and Dallas and Chicago, wherever the hell else they're going, who are like, we demand our phone. We demand our debit card. Fuck them. You know what? The veterans that are sitting out here in the cold, that Project 214 and all the other guys are trying to take out camping and spend time with them, they need the money. I'm not saying be cold-hearted to migrants, but if you're here illegally, fuck that. My dad came here legally. My family, I'm sorry, not my dad, but my family came here legally. Not only that, we've been in the U.S. military since 1914. We paid for that shit in blood like everyone else did. I have a coworker who's a brilliant business person, 5 years with a degree, finally got their green card, her and her husband. Actually had to leave the country because of a technicality for a year to come back and finish the process. So actually it was 6 years now. 6 years for two college educated people and their children to come here. But we let in that asshole who went and killed a little cheerleader here in Texas. 16-year-old girl in her own bedroom. I have a problem. We have a problem. And now the question is, why the sudden push to chase the Texans off the border? Aside from Biden's clear ego, and I'm not a fan of this guy, I'm going to say that out loud too. My fear is that's going to be an excuse to clamp down. These laws are going to set the tone to start clamping down on the preparedness community, on the Second Amendment community, many of whom are Hispanic and Black. And if you don't believe me, go on Instagram. Go look up Black-owned guns. Go look up on TikTok, Tammy the Black Prepper. Well, you guys are obviously watching me. Go look up Anthony Aguero, who hopefully I might have on my channel at some point, who's a politician out here. They will come after all of us if they set that tone. Now, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm pissed because our duly elected president isn't doing his job on the border. Even the other Democrats, the Democratic governor of Arizona saying, you got to do something. This is all a shit show. The mayor in New York is saying this is a shit show. Everyone agrees this is not right. And he basically last night, and these were literally what I read in the article. So I didn't just hear this, through the grapevine. We looked up the article, and it was, you need to move, or we're going to deal with Texas. What? I don't know. I will say this. The disrespect that our leadership has for all of the people. When Bernie Sanders and Ted Cruz agree on something and they're yelling at the White House, you know something's wrong. So folks, pay attention to what's happening in your area particularly. Looking for those changes in demographics. Who's being housed where, right? Where are they putting people? Where are the assets going? This concerns the hell out of me because this is an election year. And I guess maybe I got my tinfoil hat on, but I honestly see all these pieces getting put into place. And now Pakistan's involved. And the Pakistanis do have atomic weapons. So do the Israelis. Will they use them? Maybe, maybe not. That would be an ugly escalation. That would be very complicated. But the fact that we now have more players on the stage, big players, not just the 3 or 4 big ones, but a bunch of medium-sized players, that's concerning. That could come home. And now we have this fight internally about stopping things on the border from happening. And if they actually pass this law, my clay shooting team, prepper campouts, all this kind of stuff that we do really just to prepare ourselves as a community might make us insurrectionists. That I have a problem with. Last I checked, we were still a nation of laws and rights. So we'll see where this goes. Anyway, I just wanted to bring those 2 things to your attention. I am on a rant today, so I apologize. I really worked hard not to curse too much because this could have been a 4-letter diatribe today had I not checked myself. In any case, pay attention to what's going on. Be smart out there. Be careful with what you do. And stand your ground. Protect your own, legally, respectfully. And let's hope that sounder minds in our leadership overrule the stupid ones. Till next time, you guys be good. God bless. Godspeed. I will see you on my next video. And be safe out there. Take care.